Not everyone looks good with the middle part.
True.
Men and women can be friends, but like, does it mean that it's clear cut from beginning to end?
Yeah,
not necessarily.
I think that like all of life and all the categories are just constant recalibration.
If you have a career in social media, you already are like missing part of your mind to begin with.
The big offense is not that you're threatening my relationship, it's that you have betrayed our friendship a little bit. Wow, welcome back. We're Not For Everyone, a podcast hosted by a hater, a lover, and one of my dearest, most beloved friends, Alex Anele.
Yay.
She is a talented makeup artist that you can find on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, with over 1.8 million subscribers. Watching
too
her.
many. That is too many.
It is too many. Yeah. Are you telling them to unsubscribe?
Don't unsubscribe to that. That is too many.
But her work is very, very talented makeup artist, truly an artist. And we're going to talk about some beauty things here today. I think it'd be nice to have like a professional who knows things about things weighing in. But
we can only give the scientific
we're the
background,
scientists.
but
she's going to give some real beauty info, but mostly we just want her on because she's like one of the most like reflective, therapy-driven, introspective people that I know, and we just love her. It's the most natural fit.
Oh my God, and I love you.
You're
I can't
delight.
take compliments, so.
Yeah, that's why you're here. Anyone who
That's
can
why
take
I'm
a
here.
compliment,
we're not
not
invited.
invited.
Because all the compliments are for me.
Jess is doing it.
Jess is the best.
So Alex and I first got in touch just through YouTube. We just became fans of each other from YouTube, and I think what happened? You watched mine.
I watched one of your organization videos that literally was speaking to me, speaking to my soul. Probably like 35 times I watched it. And I mentioned you.
Speaking of too many times, too big of a number.
Exactly, too many. I mentioned you in one of my videos, just like this is a YouTuber that I'm like obsessed with right now and you guys should check her out. And then people went and commented.
Someone commented, like a subscriber commented to me, and was like, Alex Anele just talked about you in a video. And then I scrambled, watched it, and like other YouTubers have mentioned me in videos before, but never did I immediately have such a pull of like soul connection to somebody. And then I think we just started DMing and texting, and the rest is history.
Yeah, then we fell in love.
We fell in love.
Yeah.
We
That's
did.
how
We did.
Evident.
Yeah, I actually went to, I have so much anxiety around like visiting people and my friends, even my closest best friends. I just always feel weird about like being in their space or being around for too many days, or they get annoyed by me. Like, am I gonna be able to have downtime? And then without ever having met you in person, I flew to LA last year, and that was how we were gonna first meet. And I just decided, I just stayed at your home for a few days, and it was shocking to observe that I had zero feelings of worry about it. I was just like, I think it's going to be perfect. And it was.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
and I'm a regular listener. So
that's right.
That tickles
I just
me
wanted to be here.
because I watch your videos. And so the fact that we're just like, we've all had our eyes on each other in these different ways is the best. I don't like to be friends with people who haven't had their eyes on me in some way prior, you know?
I prefer to start with an ego
I prefer
boost.
that you be watching me and then we can meet.
I do feel that way. I feel that way about like I don't think I've ever pursued or chased really like a romantic interest. I refuse.
Okay.
I refuse to compete
You're
for
looking
anything.
at me like you think I'm lying.
No, I'm looking at it like I'm looking at you like I have shame about that. I feel like that's not a great way to be. I feel like people should, I don't know. But I
actually do have a lot to say on that topic.
I know you do. Say it.
I used to tell my friends a lot based on very little experience. Like I've talked about how I'm a late bloomer and I didn't start dating until like in my early 20s, and having like 3 years of dating experience, going on 2 dates and then meeting somebody that I started to have a relationship with.
Listen, lack of experience hasn't stopped me from giving advice on anything.
I was like, you know what, guys, I've figured it out. Like you have to let them chase you. In a heterosexual male-female relationship, you have to let the guy chase you. And that was my like advice. It was like, ladies, if he's not chasing you, he's not it. Which I think that there's something to that. Like I think interest needs to be shown. But at the same time, I now 10 years later, in a much healthier, better relationship that I see lasting, I'm kind of like, you know what? I chased him too.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments early in my relationship with Ryan where like it could have crumbled, and because we were just like kind of miscommunicating or like didn't know if interest was there on both sides, and he was chasing me a little, and then maybe would back off, and then I would chase him a little and be like, hey, you still there? And then
You fucking there?
and then I'd back off. And like we kind of did that a little bit until it got comfortable to be like, yeah, we can just say that we both want this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
There's a healthy level of mutual chasing.
There is. I'm just saying I don't think I do it. No, I don't think it's like right or wrong.
What do you do instead?
Specifically whenever there would be like a guy that like everybody liked, if I liked him as well, I feel like I would retreat farther into the shadows.
Okay.
Like I would just refuse.
Well, that's good.
I hate competing with people.
Because you didn't want the other people to know that you were interested.
I think I just hate the feeling of like,
I'm doing it too.
yeah, it's pathetic. But I don't know.
I kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your approach?
I don't know that I've had an approach.
That's probably better. Caroline and I overthink it, and you're like, I just let it happen.
Are you just living your life?
I don't know that I've thought about it really that much.
Well, that's
but
probably the
I
best.
do feel like there were people, if we're talking about just like, I don't know, in school and stuff.
Yeah.
The people who were like, oh, this is like the hot guy. And
Yeah.
like everybody
Yeah.
has a crush on him. I wanted people to feel like I wasn't interested.
Correct.
But you were.
What is that?
I don't
In
know.
the back
It's
of your
so-
mind, you're like, he is hot, and I would
He's
not
obviously
turn him
super
down.
hot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like you know what? I think it is something about like people who know they're hot, or people who you think know they're hot.
Yeah.
I don't want them to think that I think they're hot.
Yeah.
You can't give them that.
Yeah.
That's
feel
how I
that.
feel.
It's like
when
not
people,
everybody thinks you're hot. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Except for me privately.
I don't,
Not publicly. I think
Not
It's called
publicly.
hard to get, right? There's a word for this.
yeah, also I felt like if I actually had a crush on somebody and if they're not interested enough to like pick me out and pursue me, then I'm not going to try and pitch myself to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I relate to that too.
Okay, we've settled it. All right.
got
Well,
the answer.
this is really not what we're talking about today. Today we're gonna we wanted to have Alex on as someone who actually knows things about things. We typically on the podcast are just running our mouths with no credibility, especially in the realm of beauty, relationship to beauty, things like that. And we thought we'd just mine her for information based on her experience as a
I'm down.
beauty professional.
But dig me up, baby.
Yeah. So we're going to talk some beauty things. People wrote in, we post on Instagram, and people sent us requests for hot takes on beauty topics, but also just listener what-a-do's and general chit chat. We're going to talk your offs. Not all beauty, but we're going to hit a little bit of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
do it.
Can I start with a complaint?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. We're in LA right now.
Huge complaint. Get me the hell out of here. Yeah.
No, we're in
End of sentence.
Los Angeles. If you haven't heard of it, they call it LA. And
City of Angels.
right. And on the way over here, Jess and I were preparing for the trip and just sent me like a text to prepare myself where she was like, hey, I'm bringing a checked bag. We're only here for like 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, I'm checking a bag. Like there's a lot of things I had to pack. Like, I don't know if that's embarrassing, but I just wanted to get ahead of it. Like she had to let me know. And I was like, bitch, please, I checked a bag and I'm staying for even fewer days than she is. And I've decided, I understand the text because I have so much anxiety about like who's going to judge me for bringing too much on my trip for what they've discerned I need to bring. And I've decided I'm over it. I'm over it. It is already hard enough to be me and know that whatever I pack won't be the right thing for whatever I'm doing.
Always.
And I already have to lug this stupid thing and know that I'm going to be ill-equipped for the entire vacation. I actually don't need you to also be judging me for a bag that doesn't affect you in any way. I'm tired of it. I'm going to be cold the whole time or I'm going to be overheated the whole time. I'm not going to have the right shoes. And this is a burden I have to live with and accept me, I think is what I have to say.
Are you yelling at Jess and looking at me?
No, I don't know who I'm yelling at. I'm yelling at the people who ever judge you because people do for bringing a big suitcase.
No, the reason that I felt I needed to send that text, I think there's many reasons.
I would never judge you.
First of all, there's something about like not wanting to seem high maintenance.
Which I am.
Which I definitely am.
am.
And I'm not making it anyone else's problem. That's what I always say about myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, I am high maintenance, but I don't make it anyone else's problem. I have the stuff that I need. I pay for it. I pack it the way I want.
Big Daddy's here.
Big Daddy's here. You don't need, I don't ask you to do it for me. So that should be enough.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I don't want to come off that way.
Yeah.
I also think because I used to travel a lot for work as a consultant, it was like a flex to be able to like bring everything for your week-long trip
In like a
in a carry-on.
Oh, yeah.
And like to be like, I have it all. But like, okay, that's because you're going to sit in a conference room at a hospital for the whole week and you don't need the stuff that we needed for this trip. So I felt I needed.
I understand why you sent the text. And it just.
It was a relief when you were like, oh, I'm checking a bag too.
Right.
Now we have a very full hotel room.
Yes, we do. It arose in me just an anger about my own insecurities about this.
Yeah.
Alex, what's your weigh-in?
I was going to say 4 days is forever. Like I always am checking
I might not even be alive at the end of this.
Yeah, literally. I have a humongous bag that I always check because you don't, first of all, okay, you're coming to LA, you're doing all of these things, right? For me, I'm going to be wearing makeup. I got to pack my makeup. I got to do my hair. All right. I'm bringing a hairdryer. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a travel ring light, mini ring light.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a mirror that I need to bring because a lot of the time they don't have a mirror. I'm not doing my makeup in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I need all of this stuff. And then you don't know how many shoes you need.
No.
You don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Jackets.
Maybe it's going to rain. Maybe it's not going to rain.
Right.
It's been raining in LA. You don't know.
Am I going to feel skirty? Am I going to feel dressy?
I never feel skirty. But
Really?
like,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't know. Which pair of jeans am I
For me,
gonna
there's
wear?
so many factors. I knew I was going to get my period on this trip too, and like that is an entire separate wardrobe I need. It's like, first of all, I'm suddenly a very different size. My feelings are very different about my midriff. Like I have no idea. I truly feel like it could be. It feels as complicated as trying to pack for like a hurricane, and a tornado, and a pool at once.
I think at the bare minimum, you guys, you did exactly perfectly.
Thank you.
Checked bags.
I
And
think
you're good.
once I realized like we're coming to LA where everyone here is a checked luggage type of person, like I would be comfortable to make that assumption. It made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then you were doing it too. And I feel very well prepared. It's like I have my big bottle of dry shampoo. I have 2 different hair tools.
Yeah.
I have way more outfits than I could ever need. I have 4 pairs of shoes. I brought 3 of them to the studio today. Like, I'm so happy. I'm gonna do a shoe change mid-episode. Yeah, I just feel like this is what living and thriving is in your 30s. Right?
Yeah.
Checking a bag.
Checking a bag.
Bringing all your shit
without
with you
any
everywhere.
shame. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that you would agree.
Yeah,
given
of
the
course.
products
You think I'm
of
gonna
it
like
all.
chastise you for checking bags?
Okay, can I ask you what might be a personal question?
Oh God.
What do I even want to know? I think my
No
question
one knows.
is like
Jess. You have to do the question part
I
yourself.
think I can't read my mind. I think I want to know like what are your products that you have to bring full size
Oh, yeah.
on a trip, on a regular
Full size. Why would
a
it
typical
ever?
trip.
Why
A
would it
typical-
ever have to be full size? Like you're going to use a whole bottle of hairspray in a trip?
like just for comfort? I don't know. There's some things where you're like, I need this whole bottle of like body oil.
Yeah.
And I need the whole thing because I'm going to Mexico.
I'm trying
And
to
I
think.
need to be like
I'm trying to
lathered
think
up.
of what that is because like there's a lot of products that like mostly skincare
Yeah.
that like come in like
The travel size.
are they're already like my sunscreen. Like I don't need to put that in something smaller. It's already small enough.
Okay.
So like technically that's a full size
But
thing.
I feel like there's some products that they don't have the travel size. But if you have it under control in travel
I feel
size.
like I've got everything under control.
Wow.
With travel. Yeah, I think
Are you
so.
one of those people that has the like packages, the little travel size like empty bottles, and you fill it yourself with the stuff?
Sometimes. If I can't
Okay.
find a mini, then yes.
Okay.
But you know what? Those
I
things are
don't do that.
so annoying to clean out.
Yeah.
Like every single time.
You throw them. I throw them away.
I do my best to wash them. I do my best.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very annoying. They're
Okay.
very annoying. And then there's something about them that makes me feel like they're so dirty. Even if it was like shampoo, was holding shampoo.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Okay, I have another question. Okay. It's like same but different. If you could only wear 3 products in a day, what
I
are
hate
the
this
3
question
products?
so much. I hate this question.
She would
so
end her
much.
life.
This isn't an interview. I just need to get this.
Is
I
this
just need
makeup?
this before
This is
we
what
get into
I've been
other
doing
stuff.
to Jess all weekend. It's
Yeah,
just
true.
interviewing
interviewing.
Jess about how to live.
She will literally just like stop what she's doing and be like, so when you make a sandwich, is it the lettuce goes first or the tomato?
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 products.
Is this makeup, skincare, both?
No, everything.
Everything.
No,
What? That's
no,
crazy.
fine.
Jess, that's crazy.
Makeup.
Okay. If it's
It doesn't have to be, not like specific brands, just like eyebrow, this, that,
If it's only
assume eyebrows in
3,
there.
it's definitely eyebrow.
Yeah.
If it's only 3, concealer,
Yes.
because I can use that underneath my eyes and in any little areas, you know, like spot conceal, whatever. Definitely brows.
Yes.
Because it shapes your face. Oh, that sucks. There's so many, like, maybe like a nude lip liner.
Like, I totally expected you to say mascara.
No,
What?
I can deal with no
Interesting.
mascara. As long as I've got my brows done, I can deal with no mascara.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is why I asked.
Yeah.
Mine are similar, but it is mascara would take the place of the lip liner. I just started wearing lip liner. Like I
Right.
told
You're
you
brand new.
last week.
Yeah.
Huge shift.
You don't know
Huge
what it
shift.
is.
Everybody notices. My lips are lined.
Soon, you're gonna be like, fuck the mascara. Like,
Yeah,
I need my lip
I'll
liner.
go with this instead. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I love to learn
What
that.
about you guys? What would
What?
your products be?
Oh God, I can't responsibly answer that. I don't know. I don't ever know what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
I think it would be probably a cover up.
Like
Maybe it's the
concealer
same.
or
Yeah,
foundation?
concealer,
Yeah.
brow something,
Yeah.
and maybe a blush.
Your brows seem like they're naturally full.
They are elevated
Okay.
by makeup.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. Yeah.
they are
Things
accentuated.
are done today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, same. Yeah, I think it would be eyebrow, maybe even ahead of an eyebrow pencil would just be brow gel. Because I do
you
have
have full
thick
brows. Rude.
eyebrows. I do
So
fill them in
rude.
with a pencil.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like I can get away without it, especially if I'm not wearing a full face of makeup. So I would rather just have something that like holds them in place and shapes them.
I wish I was one of those people.
Yeah.
It looks so nice.
You know what
It's
though?
so
Does
nice.
it actually hold them in place? I feel like
Yeah.
it just gives me like laminated brow hairs that then fall back down.
If you are using
I have
a good one,
Yeah.
what do you use?
Benefit 24-hour brow setter.
I was
really
never
like it.
really a fan of that one.
Which one do you use?
I use soap.
Oh, soap brows.
That is cool. That's just a
It's the
cool
only thing that holds my brows.
thing to know.
But if you have stubborn brows and you're looking for something, there's this brand called Refi on Sephora. I want to say that the owner is UK based. Jess Hunt. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. It's her brand. I could be totally making that up. Maybe she's in Canada. I don't know. But she has
We don't
like
fact
a
check on this.
yeah, whatever. She lives somewhere. She has like a brow setter gel type thing. It's kind of like a wax, and
Yeah.
it's really good. Like if soap didn't exist, I would use that.
For like tough
Yeah,
brows. I feel like
it
my
holds
brows
them.
are kind of like pubic hair. That's the texture.
It would help. It would
Okay.
work then. Yeah, if you have
Sure.
thick brows. For
I
sure.
love it.
Do you guys want to do a listener what to do?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what a do is?
Yes.
You listen to the podcast.
Okay. won't further explain. Okay. Somebody wrote in. Hi gals, my husband's longtime friend flirts with him.
I saved this one too.
I know it's a good. I love this. There's so many different angles. My husband's longtime female friend flirts with him in front of me pretty regularly, and it drives me bonkers. I know that it's harmless, and she is naturally flirty and isn't doing it on purpose, and that she is no competition to my relationship. But it still makes me crazy when she does it. WHATADO? Love you and the podcast.
It's a tough one.
I feel like there's so many
mad.
different ways to respond to that. It makes you mad. Yeah. Have you guys been in this scenario?
No.
I have.
But it's very easy to imagine.
Yeah.
Or like I feel like I have friends who I've watched it happen in social settings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if I've not been the one like victimized. by it.
Victimized. I feel like there's so many different ways to handle it, and I think it depends on the individuals and the history. But I'll share initial thoughts.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, I appreciate that she calls out like she's not worried about her relationship with her husband. And that is ultimately how I feel kind of with any perceived threat. It's like if there's a perceived threat, someone who's pursuing your partner or your whatever, they're really not the threat. It's like your partner, all of us will always have opportunities to unchoose your person if you want to, and you have to make that choice. Like the pressure is on her husband to, it's not on the other people.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to encounter temptation and opportunities and crushes flirting with them. And it's not like my job to prevent my boyfriend from ever having people hitting on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not like where the pressure lies. But I think there would be some relief in, I think you could do nothing and just decide you're going to deal with it because that feels best on your own. But in certain scenarios, I think there can also be relief in just like sharing that with your husband. Or alternatively, I've been in a scenario where, depending on the relationship to the girl, where I've shared it with the female friend. Because to me, the big offense is not that you're threatening my relationship. It's that you have betrayed our friendship a little bit.
Yeah.
You're acting like someone who's not on my team. And I think when I've addressed it in the past, I've actually talked to the girl, and we had our own relationship. Like, we were very good friends. And I just shared, like, even kind of said what she said in this DM, like, I don't think you're aware of it. And I don't think there's bad intentions, but just so you know, it makes me feel like you're not on my team, that you can't, I didn't say this, but like that you can't fucking pass up the opportunity for a little more ego boost and a little more validation that you're going to put me through this. I didn't say that, but like, it makes me feel like you're not on my team. The damage is actually to the female friendship. And I think you have to, it's like, when I shared that with somebody, they took it pretty seriously, and they kind of apologized and they tried to explain and blah, blah, blah. And their response was pretty good, but their response wasn't what mattered. It just mattered to me to say like the thing that was true, and that like it felt hurtful. And something like that, it's going to limit your friendship unless the other person knows that it's limiting your friendship and can like have the opportunity to make a change. But I think there could also be something to talking to your husband about it. Not to be like, you need to stop her, but just to be like, oh, I mean, you share insecurities and vulnerabilities
just
all the time.
Awareness to
just
it.
being like, yeah, that sometimes makes me feel kind of shitty, even though I know there's no threat. That's just like something that makes me feel insecure sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
This person who wrote in, did they say that it was the husband's coworker, or
I think they said a longtime
friend.
A longtime female friend of his.
Yes.
Okay.
And
the person who wrote in is a woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that's why it's kind of confusing, because it's like, okay, if it's a longtime close friend of his, then maybe you can kind of assume that the wife, has her own relationship with this person. But I also,
it's more predominantly between the husband and the friend.
Yeah, her husband's friend. So I really like what you said, and I also would totally get if she didn't feel comfortable talking to the woman about it. I guess one of my questions, which I think is answered in her prompt, is like, does your husband flirt back?
Yeah.
Sounds like no, or sounds like
well, if she says it's no
competition
and she's not worried, then
right,
yeah.
then like probably not.
And even then, I'm like, the problem is your husband. The problem isn't this other bitch. If the husband's flirting back, like the husband's the problem. It's not
exactly. I think like, yeah, getting clear on like what is the actual problem. But I do think you hit the nail on the head. The actual problem sounds like it is that this woman is not respecting you, not showing you respect. Like, even if it's somebody who doesn't really need to be on your team, because maybe it's not really your friend.
Yeah.
It's like, at least show respect to your friend's wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to him and his marriage. So, and they may or may not know that they're doing it. And they may be somebody who's like, tends to be more of a flirty person, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what I would communicate to whoever. If you're communicating to her, if you're communicating to your husband, both. It's like, it makes me feel like a little disrespected, a little like not considered. And that is what bothers me the most. I not to put words in that person's mouth, but that's what would bother me the most about it.
I think there's like a very like grounded, even keel, just honest way to say it without making anyone a villain, or without making anyone a bitch, of just being like, oh, it feels bad, and like I want to feel close to my husband and also comfortable with this other person.
Yeah.
And that dynamic can just make you feel like you're the outsider.
Yeah,
like,
and
what
what
am
you
I
should not
here?
feel the outsider in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have been in this situation, kind of.
Yeah.
And I basically went about it the way that you sort of described, that like I perceived, and I
was it your friend, or was it your guy's
it was
friend?
my partner's friend. Yeah. And I don't know that I perceived very flirty behavior, and it was pretty new into the relationship, and I kind of like, I took it as disrespectful towards me, and I just brought it up to him later on, and it was just kind of like, are like just bringing this to your attention kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were friends for a very, very, very long time. And literally the same situation. Like, I did not feel a threat at all.
Yeah.
But it was just a little like, I feel a little disrespected by the way that you are acting.
Yeah.
In front of, like, right in front of
Yeah.
me with my boyfriend.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
yeah.
I think it would be similar if they came in and were just like really insulting. It's like, I don't think by insulting me that my boyfriend's gonna leave me, but it's
Right.
still just a level of disrespect. Yeah.
And
What did they say? What
well,
did because
are
you
you-
talked to her?
No.
Or okay,
No.
your partner.
Yeah.
Got it.
I talked to my partner, and it was kind of like, oh, I didn't necessarily like see it that way. Like, they've known each other forever and whatever. But there was kind of an understanding of like, okay, like, it made you uncomfortable, and now
Right.
like I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
So like when we are with this person, I'll try to just be aware of it when it's
Yeah.
if it's happening, you know.
I think I would have so many fears, and like the insecurities I would feel in that moment is like, it's a vulnerability to share. Like, this makes me not feel good or whatever, or the fear that someone's going to perceive that as like, oh, you feel threatened, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone has vulnerabilities and insecurities. But the biggest fear would be that or the worst reaction would be a partner being like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah,
like blah blah
yeah,
blah.
of course.
And that would be a pretty big failure to
Yeah.
me. I think it's one thing to be like, oh, I didn't see it that way, but I can understand, like, it hurts you and that's real. Any kind of like, I think if somebody really writes you off for that and you're not like a paranoid, unfair person, that would be
I think just
a big problem.
Any invalidation of like your feelings in
Yeah.
general, like, you know.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like put yourself in my shoes. Like
When you're not-
imagine,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
imagine the reverse. Like
When-
you probably wouldn't like that either.
Yeah.
You know?
Unless if you're not somebody who's like said this about 10 of his friends, it's like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying this all
Yeah,
the time.
right.
Yeah. When I brought it up to the female friend, she was kind of receptive to it. She kind of considered it. And then she kind of went into, and I believe this is someone who, I don't think she was aware of it, is someone who I interpreted as like needing validation from men kind of wherever she could fucking get it. And I think it was just kind of a compulsion. And then when I brought it up to her, I really don't think she was aware. And she was like, oh, well, I think I'm just being friendly. Like, I guess I'll try to be less friendly. And that kind of annoyed me. And I was like, oh, well, actually, all of my friends are really friendly to my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I've never had to talk
That's
to anybody
invalidating
before.
it.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
just because the subtext there
Super
is
passive
you're really
aggressive.
Yeah,
you're really sensitive and it's passive aggressive.
Yeah.
So the thing I was very clear I did not want to do was go into making the legal case of proving to them why they were flirtatious. I don't need to prove it to you. I know what I felt. I feel very confident about my feelings. I don't need you to be on board. Like, you don't need someone's consent to have your feelings be true. When she kind of went into the like, well, I don't really know. I think I'm just friendly. I just flatly said like, oh yeah, all of my friends are really friendly and welcoming, but I haven't had to talk to anyone about this. Anyhow, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it. It's like, I just needed her to hear it and know it, and mostly know, even without a behavior change, like just know, oh, you've really like hurt me in a way. And if you've sensed changes in our dynamic, that is why.
Yeah.
Right. I do think this opens like a broader question that we've talked about a little bit before. I would be very interested to hear your thoughts, Alex, on like male-female friendship.
People ask about that a lot, yeah.
People ask about that a lot. I don't have a fully formed opinion, really.
But you have male friends.
I have male friends. There's nothing to worry about there. So I guess I'm like, yeah, men and women can be friends. But I also know and will admit that when I was single and they were single, probably some flirting happened. It doesn't mean anything severe. There's never been any touching between us. Like, I haven't stayed friends with people who, I've hooked up with or anything like that. And that can't be said about any of my male friends. But I feel like I've definitely had the dynamic with a male friend when we were both single of like, we kind of go on dates. We kind of like do a lot of things together.
Yeah.
But we're not dating. We're not talking about dating. Who knows if crushes are harbored. It's just like you're filling a void for me a little bit, and I'm probably filling a void for you of like companionship from the opposite sex. And then as soon as somebody starts dating someone, I've always experienced a very respectful, mutual, like
Back off.
distancing. And it doesn't mean we're not friends anymore, but it just means like okay, there's a little bit of a difference. We hold the eye contact like we talked about last week. We hold the eye contact a little shorter.
Yeah.
We don't do as many one-on-one things together, but we're still friends, and we still can do the one-on-one things sometimes, but it's like coffee instead of drinks, or it's like not every night of the week, or whatever it is.
It's an unspoken understanding.
There's an unspoken
Yeah.
understanding. And so I guess when I admit that, it's like, can men and women be friends platonically? Yes, I do have plenty of platonic male friends, but like that doesn't mean that dynamics haven't popped up or things don't evolve when somebody is in a relationship or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think it's nuanced, I guess, is my point. And I think it's very possible, going back to the WHATADO, that, and I don't want to make this woman feel even more anxious about it. I mean, it sounds like she's not worried and she knows that it's not a threat, which is great. And I agree with her. It shouldn't be and it isn't. But it's also possible, if they've had a really long-standing friendship, that like back in the day, somebody had a crush on somebody, or a mutual crush was held, or whatever, and maybe nothing happened and there's nothing to worry about, and now he's married to you and he is faithful and like literally there's nothing to worry about. But you might be sensing some like leftover crush history
From her.
Which I don't know. I've been that person, but I've known how to back off.
That's what I'm saying. It's
So
like
she
you can
should
feel
know
what,
how to back off.
it's not illegal to it's not illegal to have had feelings in your life.
Right,
But like
yeah, right.
you know how to adjust your behavior.
Exactly.
It's annoying. It annoys me. It's like, first of all, I understand better than anyone a desperate, persistent need for attention, but like not at the expense of other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go find it somewhere else at this point. You know what I mean?
Scram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very, it is very nuanced. Like, it's very circumstantial. It has a lot to do with like the relationships, how they started, how long they've known each other.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a firm believer that men and women can be platonic friends.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that a lot. I've had that. And I don't know. I think in situations like in school, when, you know, you're younger and like hormones and shit, like there's probably more likelihood that there's going to be, you know, feelings from one side and maybe not from the other, or whatever. I feel like that was kind of my experience.
Yeah.
I had a lot of male friends, and a lot of those ended up turning out like someone had a crush on someone and someone didn't reciprocate or whatever.
Yep.
But for instance, my partner now has so many female friends, has a massive group of old friends that he grew up with, and I just like see the platonic friendship. It's so strong.
Yeah.
There's no undercurrents of like, even if when they were younger there may have been, now everyone is kind of like, they're adults and they've all sort of like moved on, and you know what I mean?
It's nice.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And that's what I have with my male friends. I mean, it's like really important bonds to me, and people I can really trust who feel like my brothers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, if I'm completely honest, can I say that like I thought one of them was cute 8 years ago?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So, but now today, it's not a concern. It's not a threat. It's not a thought I have, really. Like, I don't think anybody's thinking about that, feeling any sort of like lingering whatever. Like, it's totally friendship.
I also think that it kind of has a lot to do with how, like, what your view of the world is, like how you're framing it, you know, because like, I feel like I've spoken to people who don't believe that men and women can be platonic friends, and they kind of, it seems like they go into every situation thinking like, if there's a man there, then like there's sexual tension, or like, you know what I mean? Or whatever, whatever sex it might be, whoever you might be attracted to. But like, if you're not looking at the world through that lens, and you're just going into it without that, the pressure of that,
Right.
Yeah.
They're like every mixed heterosexual dynamic I'm ever in is sexy. It's like, yeah, because you're being sexy there.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
it's not
like
just,
you're projecting
that
something
doesn't just
onto that
exist.
situation. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think men and women can be friends. It doesn't seem like a question to me. I think I've just never been in that, I don't know, 11 years of all girls school. And then I went to acting.
We did do that.
We did that. And then Jess went off and went to like a normal human college. And I went to an acting school, which was basically another all girls school. And,
Really? It was mostly women?
It was women and gay men. Yeah.
Okay, I
almost
guess that makes
entirely.
sense, yeah.
Almost entirely.
Yeah.
And so I have had some Yeah. I don't know. I think I just haven't had a ton of it in my life. But I don't doubt that it's a possibility. I'll allow it.
It's just like time goes on, you know? I feel like
time.
if you're in your 20s and you're maybe just kind of becoming an adult and meeting a lot of different people and becoming friends with guys when maybe before you only had girlfriends when you were younger and stuff, then it can feel really like, what's happening? Is it friendship? Is it more like you make it a thing when whether or not it is a thing? And as life goes on and you see whether that person stays in your life or doesn't stay in your life or how it evolves or how you meet other people or whatever, you realize like you kind of can look at it in the rear view mirror and be like, okay, I kind of see what that was for what it was. And either you can stay friends with that person and it's not weird, or you don't need to have them in your life anymore. I just think time has like really helped me understand a lot of dynamics I've had with guys in and out of my life who like have been friends, who I've had crushes on, who whatever it is. And it all makes a lot more sense 10 years later.
Of course.
You know? It's like not a thing I worry about. And I'm like, I can be, men and female. Men and women can be friends. But like, does it mean that it's clear cut from beginning to end? Not necessarily. It can be. I'm sure it can be. But also not necessarily. And that's fine.
We solved it. Can I ask you a question?
No.
Okay. What is a Kanza wand?
What the hell am I supposed to know?
Oh, I thought you would know.
What the hell?
I don't know.
I've never
People
heard
wrote
that.
in.
How's it spelled?
Hold on. We asked people to write in with, give us some beauty-related hot take requests. And somebody wrote Kanza wands.
I don't even know what that is.
The
Is
fuck
it like a light therapy wand or something?
Oh,
okay,
maybe.
I'm Googling it.
I'm just assuming from
Is
wand.
it K-A-N?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God. This is, okay, first of all, this is nothing.
Oh, bless you.
It is just, it's kind of like, it just looks like it just looks like a butt plug probably.
Show it to me.
For your
Show it to
face.
me.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Is it a massager, like a lymph node massager?
I think so.
I think
I
it's
think
like-
it's just like a tool.
It's like one of those high frequency things, I think, that kind of gives your like the muscles in your face like a little bit of an electroshock.
A facial tool to help depuff and soften the appearance of fine lines and stimulate energy flow. Reveal your inner glow with a weekly facial. This is the kind of thing that I feel like that can't be anything.
So I think that
Right?
there are like microcurrent devices that do some stuff.
Yeah.
Have you used them?
I have.
Okay.
I've had bad experiences and I've had 0% experiences, if that makes
What does
any
that mean?
sense.
Like nothing happened?
Yeah, like I don't
Neutral.
know that I don't know that like anything is actually happening. First time I used a microcurrent thing, I ended up getting TMJ in my jaw.
Nice.
That's serious.
But honestly, I think I was just using it way too often and too much, which is a habit of mine.
Okay.
You know, because like skincare, that kind of stuff. Like if I
Yeah.
just do a shit ton of it, it'll
Yeah.
work better, right? That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
So yeah, but then there are other things. It's all in the marketing. It's all in the messaging.
I have opinions on this.
Okay,
So
talk to
somebody among the hot takes people wrote in about, one that I saw over and over was like red light whatever treatments. And I have done, let me preface this by saying, as always, I've done no research and I know nothing.
but you're a scientist.
But I'm going to speak very confidently in so much as like, if I guess the way I think about it is like, you have to be for the legit in med spa, in office version of a lot of these lasers and currents and whatever, you have to have so much medical training in order to use these machines properly, that if there is an at-home device, I assume that either it is extremely dangerous to use or probably not, because they'll get sued. I have to assume it is doing so little of anything that any fucking idiot at home can use it. I just find it really hard to imagine that there are actual results that you can get from something that they are letting me use at home.
Yeah.
Like
Kind
when
of in the
it
same way.
takes so long to get real results from like actual lasers and actual light therapy that you do administered by a medical professional.
I think there's a difference between lasting results and like immediate for the next 2 hours if you have a photo shoot result.
Oh, that's what
Sometimes-
they're for?
Well, I don't know
There are
about the red light
some,
specifically, but I know
Microcurrent.
Yeah, with some of and like
Okay.
facial massage things like
Sure,
gua
that
sha
that
and
can
whatever.
help you like drain stuff for the day.
Right, for the day. So I wonder if that's part of it. But then
Yeah.
the other thing I had in support of what you're saying is it's kind of like getting a retinol like prescribed versus over the counter versus like
Yeah.
at Sephora, and it's probably like just a different percentage.
It's like
you know?
point
like,
point 0.0001.
so it doesn't mean it doesn't do anything, but it's not going to be like as effective as a clinical product.
It'll be something that you need to use regularly for a long time before you see
anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar. It's like they dull it down. Is that what you're saying? Like
I mean, I guess, but I feel like they dull it down so much that like, I mean, the lawsuits they would have, things can go wrong even with like a medical professional. So they're not opening themselves up to the lawsuits that will happen if like literally anything would change with your skin.
Yeah.
If it'll change your skin at all, then you could also damage your skin. I just don't see. I don't see how it could ever possibly
that kind
be
of thing
doing
has
anything.
happened with like IPL.
Yeah. You're saying like an at-home IPL?
Well, I know that people have gotten burns from IPL.
Yes, like things can go wrong
Right.
and like.
but
Wait,
like
what is IPL?
I can't remember
Intense
intense
pulsed
pulsed
light.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like
a laser.
It's a laser like alternative, basically. Like you've talked about laser hair removal.
I've done IPL.
Oh yeah.
You've done IPL.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I got laser hair removal for a really long time, for like a year or something, and then I started doing IPL from home, which is like not as intense as going to
That's
the salon.
used for laser hair removal?
Yes.
Mine was for like discoloration.
I think there's different like
Types of lasers.
Yeah, there's different types
Okay,
of lasers.
okay.
You can get like different attachments or I don't know which one you had or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, like if you're using it incorrectly, like you follow these instructions, if you're using it incorrectly, you can burn yourself.
Which
You know what I
people
mean?
do. Like,
Sure, but like
people
also
can't open a jar of jam.
Well,
Like,
yeah, but like I mean, we have to like trust people to be people. you
but
know
we
what I mean?
can't trust them.
Oh, okay. I think like I think what you're saying makes sense, that like there are certain things that are they are reduced so
Yeah.
that we're not, obviously, like you have to go into some kind of an office or a dermatologist or something to get like
Yeah.
the higher percentage, because they're the professional, they've been trained in it.
Yeah.
But I think there are at-home devices that like
Yeah.
do stuff.
Are there things that you loved? I actually do want to ask you about this because we've talked about like Botox and stuff a bit before, and then I think maybe it was with Jess and Abby, actually our editor. We were texting about like,
Oh yeah.
somebody was debating Botox, but they didn't want to do it, and I was like, my friend Alex swears by, because you don't get Botox, right?
No.
And you swear by the like some of these patches that you wear at
the
night.
silicone patches.
The silicone patches, and I actually did kind of want you to share some other alternatives because, like, I'm not pushing anyone to get Botox.
I
and
would love to talk about this subject.
the patches are great because, like, it's not a gimmick. It's easy to understand the science where, like, you put them on while you sleep, or if you're bumming around at home during the day, and it literally it's a physical way of preventing your muscles from making that movement and increasing. So it's gonna give you improvement. It's not gonna be the same as
Yes.
Botox, right? But it's
So to be clear, I thought it was a massive scam when I was seeing ads for them everywhere.
yeah.
This was like maybe 4 years ago or something like that. I can't remember when I first started using them.
It's a specific patch brand.
There's a bunch of them.
Oh, okay.
The one that I use is by SIO. It's SIO, and I think that they're the best ones. They're like the most flexible, most comfortable, and I think they stick the best. So I was seeing ads for them everywhere, and I had been kind of thinking about Botox because when I went to sleep at night, I make crazy faces. I have a lot of anxiety. All right, so I make crazy faces.
How do you
in my
know?
sleep.
How do you even learn that you make faces in your
Because
sleep?
I would wake up in the morning and I'd look in the mirror and I have this super deep line and like lines here, and I just know that my face is like moving like crazy when I'm sleeping. I told you I'm a bad sleeper. We were talking about this.
Yeah, we
earlier.
talked about this.
And so I was like, I want my face to move. Like, I don't want to get Botox. I don't want to freeze anything. I want my face to move, but I don't want to wake up in the morning with these deep lines.
Yeah, if you're
so like
starting with the lines, then like the day
That's
can
what I'm
only get
saying.
worse.
That's
like
what I'm
all I did was
saying.
sleep.
The morning is my
Exactly.
favorite time to be like, oh, they're not here yet. Like, thank God.
That's not how it worked for me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm gonna try these. They're like kind of pricey, but I was like, I'm just gonna give them a shot.
And they're reusable.
They are
a few
reusable.
times, or okay.
So they say that you can use them up to 10 times. I wear them 4 times a week, and I use them for like a month.
okay.
So I personally think that you can make them last way longer.
Yeah. We can't know what that math is, but it sounds like more than.
It's more than 10.
Right.
Multiples. Multiplied.
Yeah.
It's multiple. Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, like I wear the forehead one and then the ones underneath my eyes, and then I just started doing like smile line ones.
I want that.
And all it does is like it's a sticky silicone, so you stick it on like clean skin, and it just prevents your face from moving around while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And also, it kind of like traps in hydration,
Oh.
which is another thing that causes like those deep lines and
Yeah.
stuff. It's just like your skin drying out.
Yeah.
I think I used them. I can't remember how like quickly it happened. Maybe like 3 or 4 uses, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a
Wow.
massive difference." And I have
Wow.
not stopped using them since.
Nice.
I'm
Okay.
And just to be clear, I have worked with them before, this brand, one time, but I buy them myself.
This
Okay,
episode
okay.
is not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
No, everyone refused to sponsor us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would accept though. Send them to me.
I know,
please.
that's, yeah.
Whoever
Where are
are.
you guys? Like, reach out to me again.
Can I hit you with some more hot? Do you want to do hot
I have one
takes?
question.
Oh yeah, do it.
So you described putting them on clean skin,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like you have one on your forehead, one under your eyes,
know what this question is gonna
and
be.
Smile
around your
lines.
mouth. So that's like most of your face.
That is the
covered
majority
with
of my
this.
face,
and
correct.
it's clean skin, meaning there's no moisturizer.
So what I
underneath?
do, because I use tretinoin three nights a week.
Okay.
When on the nights that I'm not using tretinoin, I will cleanse my face. I will put on like you guys talked about the CosRx snail mucin like
yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
I have the serum. I'll put a little bit of that on, and then I have like a basic moisturizer. It's like there's no active. It's just like a moisturizer.
Yeah.
I'll do a light layer of that, and I'll let that sink in for like however many hours before I go to bed.
Okay.
And then I'll usually either take like a washcloth and kind of like wipe the areas that I'm gonna stop smiling at.
You're so cute. I love it.
This is
I know.
extremely helpful because
Everybody- oh,
what
okay.
I was picturing.
I just like your face. Everybody has to watch this on YouTube because her face is so
She's really
delightful.
pretty. What I was picturing and why I asked the question is like they go onto bare skin when you just cleansed your face
No, no,
or
no,
are
no.
out of the shower, and then you're putting moisturizer just on like the exposed
So you
part.
could do that.
Just on my vulnerabilities.
The way that they suggest is like just they say on clean skin.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I shower at
False.
like 4 or 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I need skincare. So like I just have that moisturizer. I just make sure that it's like if you put it on top of like
Wet
benzoyl
moisturizer.
peroxide
Yeah.
or something like that, then you're gonna ruin your skin. Like you do not want to trap that stuff
Oh,
under silicone.
okay.
It'll be really bad.
Can you put it on top of tretinoin?
No.
No, don't
no,
do
no,
that.
No. So no actives, which is
Okay.
why I only use it 4 nights a week.
Okay.
on the nights you're not using.
You
that.
only
Yeah.
use the
Yes.
patches 4 nights a week?
I use the patches 4 nights a week, tretinoin 3 nights a week.
Okay.
We're gonna have you write this down.
Yeah, just write instructions.
science.
How do we live?
And I also, because like if you sweat at night, sometimes
Yes.
things can move around. I have like it's a whole situation, all right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about extra being extra.
Yeah.
All right?
You take care of yourself.
Do you want to do some rapid fire hot takes
Yeah.
from beauty hot takes people wrote in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to keep them rapid fire.
We're going to keep them rapid fire. It's
Which we
impossible.
always do.
I've never done it in my life.
We are so
I think-
speedy and not verbose. At
I
all.
think this time what we're going to do is actually make it rapid fire. You have like, you can say a phrase of reaction or hot take. And then if something is interesting and we want to dig in, we'll go back at the end.
Okay, I'll keep notes.
Are we all replying?
taker.
Are we all replying or are we just getting Alex?
No, we're getting Alex. And if we
I was
come
going
back
to say,
to
I
it,
have to stop telling people things.
if
yeah.
we come back to it, then we can talk. But right now,
For sure.
then you're allowed
Yeah.
to interject.
Then we're allowed to talk.
Okay.
Okay.
we'll
Let
try.
me see.
It might not
I only
work.
have a few.
I can add in if you run out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you right now with collagen supplements.
They work. They work.
Shocking.
They work, but there's more.
I immediately want to
Don't
ask
say
more
anymore.
questions.
Don't say anymore. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. Okay. Bra straps showing.
Don't care.
Okay.
Nice.
Retinol being a waste of money.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Disagree.
Pissed off, actually.
Shorts cut off above pocket level / above butt cheek level.
I don't like it.
Okay. Not everyone looks good with the middle part.
True.
Okay. Clean beauty.
Wait.
Hey.
Not everyone looks good with. Yes.
Somebody wrote in. These are not my opinions.
No, go
Somebody
back,
wrote
go
in.
back.
Not everyone looks good with a model.
Yeah, no,
middle
I
part.
got that. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I said the correct thing. True.
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 Okay.
Can we just be clear on my middle part right now before we continue?
You look fabulous.
You look very good.
I'm like, are we talking about me? Okay, go on.
Clean beauty.
It's branding.
Yep. Thank you for fucking saying that. Best celebrity nose. Or one you like.
Halsey.
Halsey.
Beautiful.
Does she have a good nose?
What's up with her nose?
I don't know if she had I hate to speculate if anyone's had anything done, but
Sure.
it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love her
It's
nose.
just a tiny little
Okay.
peanut
It's
just a
nose.
tiny little-
It's
I was
just,
thinking like Eugene Levy is my favorite.
That's not the direction I was going in, but I love his
It's
nose as
iconic,
well.
yeah.
those are all my hot take submissions. We can dig deep. Do you have any, do you have any additional
let me
hot
add
takes?
some. Yeah.
Do it.
Cold showers / cold plunge. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough. Okay.
Why?
She rolled her eyes.
PFFFT.
Oh, I lost my note. Where'd it go? Hold on. Okay. Oh, body glitter.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, me too. Only washing hair once a week.
If you can, yeah.
Wow, we got to talk about that. And that one headband specifically for putting on makeup. You know the one. It's like bubbly.
Oh,
I own it. This is no shade. I have it. I don't use it, but I have it because the influencers have
very
it.
cute. Have one, but I think it's like you can only hand wash it or something. Fuck that.
Oh yeah, and it gets makeup
Girl,
on
you're
it.
talking to someone with no hair.
I
So,
know,
like,
but I knew you'd have an opinion because you see the videos and you.
I don't know that I really have an opinion on
Okay,
it.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Where do we
Okay.
want to dig? What do you feel like you have more pressingly that you need to say?
You know what? Actually, I got a really good comment when I asked people on YouTube.
Ooh, yeah.
It was kind of long. I got some really one of the top comments from what I asked was, how do you have a social media or a career in social media without losing your mind? And that was
That's
like
a great
the
question.
top
Tell
liked
us.
one. And the obvious answer is that you don't. And the second obvious answer is that like if you have a career in social media, you already are like missing part of your mind to begin with.
Okay.
So
True.
there's
That's-
that.
that's a good point.
Quick response to that. But I had this one that was like pretty good. It's a little bit long.
Is this a beauty thing? Are we moving on from beauty, or is
It was
a-
about beauty standards.
Sweet.
Love that.
Let me find it though. Does someone else want to read this because
Sure.
it's long?
Do you want me to read it and ask you?
Yes.
Okay, so this is something one of your subscribers wrote
Yes.
when you said that you were. Oh, okay, get out of here. Okay, I would love to hear you speak about the pervasive phenomenon of feminine shame, i.e., the socially imposed shame many women experience for taking an interest in traditionally, quote, feminine things like makeup and fashion. There's a lot of baggage around makeup, and there seems to be factions, even among women, between those who like/wear makeup and those who don't. Patriarchal cultures tend to look down on traditionally feminine interests as frivolous and superficial, whereas, quote, men's interests are regarded as important, interesting, and make the world go round. This gives rise to a certain pressure for women to abandon femininity and adopt masculine modes of being in order to be respected. In parentheses, remember shoulder pads? I wonder whether you experience that pressure/shame, and if so, how have/do you deal with it? Great question.
Thank you for reading that because when I read out loud, I can't process what I'm reading.
Yeah.
So yeah, this actually, like, I was thinking about this, when we went to dinner last night, just for everybody. And you brought up the women in DC wearing frocks when you were talking about frocks.
Oh, yeah. Can I explain this?
Yes.
Okay, well, I was just like, we're in LA, land, and it is just such fun people watching, and it really delights me to go different areas of the country and just see how shockingly different the like dress code norms are. Obviously masculinity norms, femininity norms, like what's standing out. And there are all these outfits that I packed and feel so excited to wear in LA that I would never wear in Washington, DC. It is pretty damn conservative. It is pretty damn basic. And I love DC. It's my preferred place to be. I don't think I would really survive out in LA. But there are things that like, man, I wish I could have worn this like skin tight mesh, bright pink, like cropped body suit, whatever. It's fucking fun.
Yeah. And
there is such a culture in DC where people are pretty conservative and homogenous with how they dress. It's a lot of government people. It's everyone trying to look professional. And it's different in an interesting way from New York, where there's also a very professional financial world. But in New York, the professional look is like you can look very chic, you can look very trendy almost, even as a man. Whereas in government, you would be active. It would actively hurt your work to show up with anything designer. You cannot show up with anything like to designer in like most government meetings and stuff like that. It doesn't look good. And people just dress really frumpily. It drives me crazy a little bit. It actually makes me angry seeing this trend in DC where women are really dressed down their bodies. Not that everyone has to show off their body, but like if you want to, it's okay to do. And it feels very clear to me that there's a pressure to like unfeminize and unsexualize yourself, and like where it's like boxy frocks everywhere. That's what you dress up as. It's just this boxy frock. It drives me crazy. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
Not that you have to show your curves all the time, but it feels very clear in DC that there is a pressure to like not have a female body, and it drives me insane. I hate it. So that's what I was talking about at dinner.
Yeah, and I kind of brought up when you were talking about that, I brought up that when I was living in my hometown back in New Hampshire, I lived in like a relatively small town, and just wanting to like wear certain clothes or wear like cool makeup made me feel really out of place because it was
And you
just
do dress
like,
very cool.
thank you.
And have very cool makeup.
Oh my God, stop.
I mean,
I'm talking like I would look like a vampire, like a goth makeup going to like the post office.
I
Maybe like that
love
kind of
that.
thing, like wearing like all black. And it's like, you're in Keene, New Hampshire. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And those are the kind of like looks and feelings that I would receive when I was like just out and about. And I think it sucks. It definitely sucks because it makes you feel like you don't belong there. And I think that was my main feeling when I was growing up, is that like I don't belong here. I'm not allowed to be like who I am. And when I moved here, it was like, fuck, dude, I can like wear whatever I want. Like if I want to like roll out of the house in like sweats and looking like crazy, with my hair pointing in like all directions, I can do that. If I want to like get super glam, like that's acceptable here. Like it's kind of amazing.
it is a nice thing.
Yeah.
I really can appreciate that being in
But
LA.
I think what's difficult about this question is that there's no like right answer necessarily.
Yeah.
I think like it has so much to do with your own personal insecurities. You know, you kind of have to embrace, like if you're someone who works in an office environment and you're feeling pressured to like not dress a certain way, I think there's obviously like a fine line, because like maybe it's going to prevent you from getting a promotion or something. But I think that the best thing to do is to like express yourself the way that you want to, even if it's just in more open environments, like maybe not as much in the office, but out, with your friends. Like if you
Sure.
happen to be, this is actually another thing that I struggle with. The majority of my friends, my close friends, are not makeup wearers. They don't really care about like dressing up. And a lot of the time I will feel kind of pressured to, I think I said this to you guys yesterday when I was talking about this. I was like, what's the vibe? Like, what am I supposed to wear?
Yeah.
Because if I show up,
Oh, for this recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were like, what do I do?
yeah, what do I do? Like,
We're
what am
like,
I
we
wearing?
don't know. We're taking cues from
I've
you.
never been on this podcast before. I don't know.
But like if I show up and I've like put all this effort in to like wearing like cute things or whatever, and then like my friend shows up wearing like sweats, like makeup, hair undone, like
Yeah.
sneakers, then I feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done this because now I'm trying to like draw attention to myself. So like I relate to this very much. I think
Yeah.
there is that pressure, but I think that a lot of it has to come down to individual insecurity that
Yeah.
needs to be worked on.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, like we can talk, and having these discussions, we can talk about like changing society's views and stuff. It's going to happen eventually, and the more we talk about it, but we still have to live today where there are
Totally.
like, basic truths that are just, they exist and we have to deal with them.
Norms.
I love
yeah.
that. I think that's insightful. I think a lot of the times when people say things, this is a comment that comes up a lot, was like, can we normalize X, Y, Z? I think the real action is like, can I normalize it for myself?
Yeah.
That's how you start.
And I think I totally relate to that pressure too, of feeling like, oh, did I dress up too much? Oh, am I out of place? Oh, am I not right? Or did I try too hard? The like women hating on tryhards, that one drives me crazy. It's like we're all trying hard out here, even if it's trying hard to look like you're not trying hard. But I think there's definitely been a shift in me from my 20s where I felt way more insecure about like dress up the correct amount.
Yeah.
To now more recently where I'm like, I am going to wear what I genuinely feel excited to wear and feel good in and look good in. And when I show up and my friends are in their sweats, like that's what they wear. And
Yeah.
I'm delighted that I'm feeling excited about how I look. I think it has a lot to do with like having the right friends, first of all. Like
Yeah.
they shouldn't be commenting on that. But it also, I think you're so right, is your relationship to what you're doing. And I think there is a big distinction with work. And I'm okay with that for the time being. Like you also probably adjust your personality and your conversation topics at work. It doesn't feel so insulting to me that I don't wear you know, that you might dress differently in an office. Yeah, but I think, there's been a shift in like growing up and being like, I don't know, I'm excited. So, there's some celebrity who had a great quote about her style, just being like, I don't know, am I overdressed for this? Like, I think I look great.
Yeah. I also often feel overdressed or overdone for things. Like, I like to do my hair and makeup.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good. And even if I'm like just going to grab a coffee with friends, like I will probably do, maybe not as much as today, but I'll probably do it. And they may show up differently, and that's fine. I'm not commenting on that. But I do feel sometimes that, like, oh, I tried too hard. Like, oh, I seem like I tried too hard or something. But then I also just rest in the fact that, like, that's how I feel good, and it's something I have fun doing.
Yeah.
And it makes me excited to, like, go out into the world and meet up with my friends. Like, if I showed up, you know, not as done, then, like, that would have other implications on how I feel and how the hang is and, you know, all of like my confidence in the place that I'm going. So if this is what I need to do to show up and be myself and be confident in myself, then like, so be it. But it does feel like I do understand and relate to the feeling of feeling out of place, feeling overdone. I feel like I'm the friend that does the most when it goes to my hair and makeup. And even, I don't know, I dress casually, but I still like, it's important to me to feel put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's like shady of somebody else. If somebody's making you feel bad about that, then they are not dressing
shady.
the way that they wanted to show, would have best served them.
They're being
Right.
weird.
You know what I
They're protecting their own
mean? They're
insecurities.
projecting.
Yeah, of course.
And as with most things, I feel like my feelings about showing up and being overdressed have more to do with like, who did I do that for? If I dressed this way because I thought that's what people wanted or I thought that's what they would like, then it is going to hurt more when I feel overdressed, as opposed to like, this is what I was fucking excited to wear.
Yeah.
And I think I look cute as hell. It's a very different relationship to it then. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another
we
thought.
answered
Oh,
that.
about
Did we solve it?
the work stuff.
What's the work stuff?
How you dress at work.
Yeah.
I think there's other ways to express your personal style even in a corporate setting. Like that was one of the reasons that I started getting my nails done because I could get like a fun design or a bright color or whatever and still show up at work in whatever I had to wear at work.
Yeah.
But feel like, okay, I get to like have a little pop here, or like jewelry or makeup is a really good thing for that. Hair, like if you feel like you have to wear like corporate bullshit, at least you can maybe accessorize me. And I know some work environments probably don't allow that either and have strict rules about that. But if there's a little way, I remember growing up and going to our all girls school with uniforms. And one of the main ways that you would get to like spice up your uniform was shoelaces on your brown Doc Martens that like everybody was wearing at school. And so I had these crazy shoelaces or like headbands, I feel like was maybe your thing.
Or we had special designated days that you were allowed to accessorize your kilt.
Yeah.
We were in like a Catholic schoolgirl kilt, and there were...
Can I interject?
Yes.
I also went to Catholic school.
Yes, that's why we connect.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
there
I
were-
relate to this.
There
very
were
much.
only specific days that like we could put pins
That's so
or
crazy.
ribbons
Yes,
on our kilt,
pins.
and it was that we went hog wild. Like we raged on those days.
Totally.
It was so exciting. I think when the opportunity was so limited, like it felt like such a big deal. I don't know, why would I put a pin on my skirt?
Oh my God, it was the most exciting day. It was like, today for the Feast of Mater, you get to wear a pink shirt. And I'd be like, Mom, we have to go to Loman's to get me a new pink shirt for the Feast of Mater. Like,
Feast of Mater. Did you go to a
I
Catholic
don't even
school?
know what I
Is that what
did.
you
I
said?
went to Catholic school from 2nd to 8th grade.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
That's
I
what
hated
made
it,
you-
but-
that's
the
what made you
Mater was
great.
very specific to our school. I don't think
Yeah,
it's like
I
a broader
was like, I've
thing.
never heard of that, but I also did not pay attention. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you more, but I can tell you it was
Mater.
Mater.
It was Mater.
One of the what-to-dos we got for this episode was, have you ever worked really hard for something and then it happens and then you just hate it? And it spoke to a deep part of my soul because I think that was the first 10 years of my career. Like literally working for the next promotion or the next job opportunity in corporate America, doing the path that I had been put on and was supposed to do. And I was working so damn hard at it. And I thought I wanted these things. I thought I wanted the next promotion. I thought I wanted to like manage a team. I thought I wanted to like get to travel more for work and like meet with clients. Like I thought I wanted that. And at every milestone when I achieved the thing, I was like, oh, this isn't that cool. It doesn't really feel that good. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm closer to me and the thing that I want, even though I thought I wanted this. So I totally relate. I mean, that's the reason that I like flipped my life upside down and quit my job and started doing this and all of that. So yeah, I think it's super relatable. I think people do it for a long time because part of it is that that's how you find out what you do want.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to like pursue the wrong thing. Maybe you don't have to,
But I did.
but I think probably a lot of us did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what do you think?
And having an idea about how something is going to be once you get there, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, and then one day you're like, oh wait, maybe I've been there, it's been happening, and it's just this, and this is what it's going to fucking be.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about acting, was like the last job I worked, and when I decided, I was pretty unhappy in that career for a while, but when I decided I wanted to quit, was I was filming this commercial, and it was like a pretty great commercial, and it was a good job to get, and blah, blah, blah. And I still just like couldn't wait for it to be over, couldn't wait to go home, was so annoyed to be there. And finally was like, oh, like this moment is the thing. Like this is the thing. It's like to be a working actor. That's the goal alone. It's just to be working, to have a job to go to. And I was like, oh, if I don't like this, like I actually don't like this. There was an idea of what it was going to be that I thought I'd like, and then realizing that the life of it is not something that you actually enjoy. Yeah, that was the end for me.
Yeah, I don't know that I've like worked so hard on to get to somewhere that and then ended up hating it. But I completely identify with that in terms of like the career that I'm in right now. It all kind of happened by mistake. It wasn't like something, it's not like I had a 5-year plan or anything like that, and not that most people do. I don't know that most people do.
Yeah, I think it's fake.
But I do feel that like I was moving in a certain direction and got to a certain place and I didn't necessarily know where I was going, but I ended up somewhere, and I think I've moved further and further away from fulfillment as I've reached that place.
Wait. What was the place? Was this in the past or is this current?
No, now. This is now.
Okay, so you think can you summarize? Are you comfortable summarizing like what that work is now that you feel?
Like
career growth.
So when I started this like job in social media, I was posting just like photos on Instagram, and I was coming from, school art.
You were like
background.
Professionally, or like a classically trained fine artist.
Sure, if that's what you want.
Painter? She's a painter.
I got my
designer?
BFA in oil painting. Yes.
Okay. Those are the terms. Okay.
And so makeup started as like an expression of an artistic expression. And it was back when Instagram was just like photos and stuff like that. So and I was doing that a lot, and I was very fulfilled with the creative output. And I was trying to get to a place where I was like financially stable, and people requested that I do tutorials on my looks. I ended up starting a YouTube despite not really wanting to, and sticking with that. And then when that became successful, I'm sure that you've experienced this, the certain things that do well on YouTube are not the things that fulfill me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then trying to get back to that is
and
like,
it's what people expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There is a huge, I hear so many different creatives talk about the thing that happens when you start selling your art, basically. Even when I have like a lot of artist friends who they sketch or they paint or they draw whatever they wanted, and then they started getting commission requests. And as soon as it was a commission of somebody else telling you what they want you to draw, it is a completely different experience.
Yep.
And that was so kind of validating to hear, because to me, I'd be like, well, they're both drawing, they're both painting, they're both whatever. And now you get paid. It's great. It is a completely different experience when you're like really, it's a different experience in your bank account in a good way, but it's also a different experience on the level of fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's just, I definitely feel the same. And I really am really happy to be on YouTube, in so much as like there is a balance, there's opportunity for creative fulfillment, and there's an opportunity for me to support myself, which is very different from past careers I had on different ends of the spectrum. But it is a funny thing to try and balance all the time. Like I try and think about the overlap in what interests me, but you can't forget about the part of the Venn diagram, which is what interests other people.
Right.
And hopefully there's a little bit of overlap,
Yeah.
but it's not usually huge. And I think that's a struggle for really almost any creative. So you feel like right now that overlap is very, very little for you.
Right now, yes, very, very little. But a lot of that has to do with my own shit that I'm dealing with, you know, in my head and stuff. Yeah. I don't know.
I liked what this conversation's reminding me a little of something that you and Justin talked about on your hater hour a couple weeks ago, where Caroline had her boyfriend Justin on, and there was a question about like selling out in your career and when it's kind of like when it's acceptable
Is it
to
worth
sell
it?
out,
Blah, blah,
sell
blah.
out. Yeah. And he said something really insightful, I think, that was like,
I love him.
yeah, he did a great job. And he said something insightful that I'm trying to like exactly remember and paraphrase correctly. I think it was basically like, you can still maybe there's an adjustment of expectations that needs to happen. And maybe, and I don't know how much it applies to art and creative work, but I think it does. Maybe like the thing you've been picturing in terms of your career goals, you can get close to it. You can get in the same industry. You can get like adjacent, but maybe you don't have to get to like the exact thing, because maybe once you do get to the exact thing, it won't actually be exactly what you thought.
Yeah.
Or there will be some other downside that you didn't anticipate. And so like still being able to get close to it, be in the vicinity of it, have a lot of the same like values represented and skills getting used and stuff like that, but also preserving, you know, other things that may be sacrificed.
Right.
Like maybe that's okay. And maybe adjusting those expectations is actually kind of what all of us are on the journey to do.
Totally.
Maybe you go too far sometimes and you have to kind of like, okay, now that I've gotten to this point, that's not really it. I'm going to backtrack because I feel like it was better when I was at this point. Or I'm going to turn left because I feel like, you know, maybe something just a little bit different would work. Like, I think I used to perceive my career as something that was like had a end point.
Yeah.
I
And
was
had a
gonna
finish
say,
line.
Yeah.
I don't think that you arrive ever.
Yeah.
I think that like all of life and all the categories are just constant recalibration. And there are these moments sometimes where I'll catch myself being like, oh, I'm in a transitional period. It's back-to-back transitional periods. It's back-to-back transitional periods.
There's
and
like 2 weeks
recalibrating
in between that are
Yeah.
kind of cool.
And actually during that time, I was fucking simmering on like the next move that I didn't even know I was going to make. But like it is constant recalibration, I think. I don't think there is that. Yeah, if you're like, I think the big mistake I made in past careers was like holding my breath, waiting to start living once I reached that arrival point, and then things would be good and then things would be great, which is not to say that I'm not on board with holding out for like long-term delayed gratification and working hard for things that will come with a delay. But if it's like for me personally, I can't do I'm going to bury my head in the sand and be miserable for 20 years in the hopes that at the end of those 20 years, I'm going to arrive at this thing and then it'll be great, because you have no idea what it'll feel like. Yeah. I think one of the other things that is bizarre is just how hard it is to know like what job options there are.
Yeah.
I feel like even going to a great school that tried to expose us to things, I was like, well, there's doctor and there's lawyer and there's money man in the bank and there's like, and I wanted to be an actor, so I didn't even think about other careers. And it's so weird to learn all the things that people do.
Yeah.
But it's also hard to. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I could still only name 4 jobs.
Right. Well, it reminds me of that like meme that's gone around that's like nobody actually knows what their best friend does.
I haven't seen that.
You know, like maybe like in general.
That is
like,
actually true. Wow.
Yeah.
That is true.
Especially there's so many like jobs that are like consultant. When I refer to having a consulting career, people are like, what is that? And I'm like, good question. Like that is what consulting is. It's just this vague unknown. But I think something that's really helpful for finding out, I mean, this might be obvious, but I had a kind of point where I realized this. Something that's really helpful for finding out kind of like what even the career options are is just talking to as many people as possible. Like when I took my year off after I had had that 10 years in consulting and was so burnt out and so unfulfilled, I took a year off. I knew that I wanted to do something in this space, like podcasts or entertainment or media, but I also knew that that wasn't going to just like happen overnight, and I needed to make money and I needed to have stability. And so I knew I would also need to go back to a corporate job, which I have both right now going on. But I didn't want to go back to the type of corporate job that I had before. I knew that that wasn't working, but I didn't really know what the other options were for somebody who doesn't have a law degree, isn't a doctor, doesn't have like a defined professional like specialty. Yeah. And I just started to stalk people on LinkedIn and understand like job titles, and then maybe have a call with somebody who is in this type of job title that I got connected to from somebody else, and ask them about like the org structure and be like, okay, so your title is product marketing manager. Who do you report to?
What else
is the
there?
division?
Ooh, that's
what
a
are
great
the
question.
teams that you interact with?
Yeah.
And I started to understand like the puzzle of, okay, at the types of companies that I'm interested in working with, there's generally this type of org structure. There's these types of team. There's these types of titles. And then I slowly but surely like piece together, sounds like that's something I'd be interested in. Sounds like that's not so much something I'd be interested in. And I had more specifically like literally like the search terms to put in the job search on LinkedIn when I was looking for a new job, because it wasn't just like, I know I want to do health tech and I am good at like making slides. What job is that? It's like, I have a name for that now because I did all that piecing together. So
That's super smart. I love that.
Yeah. It's just like, you got to be a detective a little bit because nobody.
It's so opaque otherwise.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, there's jobs and there's me.
Right.
How do I get in there?
I think that's great. Can I ask Alex, I'm really curious if you want to share anything on this. I think a lot of people relate to being in the moment of like professional unfulfillment. And if they're like, what do you do then personally? What do you find yourself doing to either like cope or adjust or experiment or try things out or think about things? Is there anything? Is it just like a moment of pause and you're like, I'm not thinking about it? I'm
Start going to therapy.
Smart. Yeah.
Congratulations. Welcome.
I know it took me a really long time. I was like telling people to go to therapy before I started.
Yeah.
I know you need therapy.
That's a common
So
thing,
do I.
believe it or not.
Yeah, that's kind of helped.
That's a great move.
Yeah. It's a good fucking question. I don't know. You really got to work on, I think you got to work on your brain a lot. At least in my experience.
What does that mean to you?
I'm currently in a stage of reframing the way that I look at basically everything. And I think that I think I'm a person who thrives in the unknown and pressure. And when I was like, living paycheck to paycheck, it was like I was full of creative energy, and I was constantly working and constantly creating and feeling motivated. And now that I'm like stable, I don't feel that. I don't feel, I think there's something about me that doesn't feel comfortable in stability.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's not very energizing.
No.
It's like the building from like 0 to 1 of any endeavor is the most fun. Like you get so many results and there's all this fear wrapped up in there. But I've learned that the moments of fear in a life are usually the ones that we romanticize the most. Like before they built the company, before the relationship was secure, before they got comfortable in whatever new world or land you're in. Like those moments of fear are really energizing and they make you feel really alive. And then sometimes when I hit a place of stability, I'm like, oh, am I going to die now? That's kind of how it feels. I don't feel alive anymore. Like recently in my own work, I've hit a bit of like, I feel like a plateau, even a dip, where I'm not getting the results that I've been looking for. And it was really devastating and like really shook me. And then after like a few months of that, it made me realize, oh, I actually have gotten back the gift that I recently mourned not having, which was that like I built a platform, it's built, it's done, it's going now. And like I kind of miss not having a new thing to build. And I'm like, well, I feel like I've been knocked down a little bit and I actually get, now I'm looking at it at reframing, like you said. I was looking at it with this space where like I'm experimenting with how I do everything. I am trying new stuff. I feel like I've just restarted in a way. That's how I'm thinking about it. I'm restarting my career from zero, even though I'm not, and just trying to be hungry and experimental and be comfortable with like not knowing what the next move is. I think the reframing is helpful.
It's funny though, we were talking about this last night at dinner. You know how I mentioned that like when I first started in this career or whatever, I had this mentality of if people don't like it, then like fuck you, I'm just gonna double down. You know? And that really
I love that
motivated me.
instinct in you. I love it.
I
Give an
really
example.
want to study this
Like,
about
okay,
you.
Give an
One
example of what you mean.
Because
One
I'm not
time,
like that,
I
and I want to
remember
be.
this was back when Instagram was just photos, and I did this like graphic liner that was like it kind of looked like ink blots or whatever on my eyes. Super simple, whatever. It's like, you know, I posted it and I got so many people saying that they hated it. And I was like, I'm gonna do a YouTube tutorial of this now. I did it, but bigger and like with more color and like all of that stuff. So that was kind of like, I would read those and I would feel like angry and I would be like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it more.
I love
that. I feel like was an anger that was coming from a different place based on other experiences in my life and, you know, whatever. Caroline knows a lot about this.
I was going to say I'm familiar.
She knows everything.
I'm familiar.
But that was something that like really motivated me and pushed me. And I've gotten to a place where I'm much more like, I'm not angry. I'm very like at peace with people.
It's so boring being this healed.
It's so
Don't you
true.
think
That's-
we're too
okay.
healed?
That's literally what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is last night, I think you
Yeah.
and I were talking about this. And, I'm trying to get back to that place. Like
Yeah.
I want to find that a little bit because I feel like I'm missing
That
that
edge.
motivation.
You have to fuck
Motivation
shit
that
up
like
a little
pushed
bit.
me.
You have to
Yeah.
like
Now I'm just
fight
like
someone.
I don't judge anybody. I'm so good.
I'm at peace. Yeah, I'm too good out here. I'm too at peace with whatever.
like things
I'm not
aren't making me angry. Like I feel like I need to find that anger again.
It's interesting. What do you do?
I don't know.
What do you do?
I don't know.
I think about this all the time with, I feel like a lot of musicians that I like or follow talk about this, like writing a song.
The best songs are in their depression.
that is so fueled by pain. Yeah. And then
but I'm
putting out that
depressed.
amazing
I'm
album.
depressed.
I know, but you're working on it now, and that's the worst thing you can do for your creativity.
No. I don't like putting. I don't like that. This is not how we feel.
Sarcasm.
No.
I think
It's
you need. I have to replace sadness with anger. I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think
This
Yeah.
is not healthy. I'm not giving
I
any
think-
advice. to
no,
I'm
anybody.
not
it's-
giving healthy
it's
advice. But it
relatable.
is relatable because
it's
what do you
relatable
do?
because what do you do?
It's like I'm familiar with what to do with
There's
anger.
not an answer necessarily, but I lost my train of thought. Yeah, no.
Musicians, I'm sorry, I cut you off. So musicians saying they were depressed, sad songs.
They
No,
create
I
their
don't
best
remember.
work.
It's fine. I wasn't going anywhere. It's fine. No, I don't know. There's nothing. Here's the thing. Me continuing that thought is not productive or helpful, but it is true. You know what I mean?
What thought?
So
What thought is true?
I specifically remember my love of my life, John Mayer, doing an interview and talking about, writing an album and how it came purely from this place of depression, and it was like a sick album and everybody loved it and whatever. And then having this like period, and a lot of his music and a lot of his albums coming from that place, and then eventually getting older and realizing how he had to like make a lot of improvements on himself and getting in therapy and working on the things that like made him this twisted guy with like a lyrical genius mind. And then he was kind of like, what now? Like, what do I like?
Yeah.
And he almost had the compulsion to like ruin stuff in his life and like self-sabotage a relationship or
for the content.
for the content, for
Yeah.
the music, for the art. And I'm not saying people should do that, but I do understand where that comes from because you're like, that's what you talk about and what you
totally that you
create
have something
content out of
you have to work something out.
is the pain. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going through a lot of pain, your impulse for anyone is to like make sense of it somehow, to be seen and understood in it somehow, to relay it and work through it. Whereas when I'm fucking on the top of the mountain and happy,
Nobody
I just
wants
want
to hear about that.
and I don't want to tell people about it. I just want to go be in my life.
True.
Yeah,
I don't need
True.
people to understand it about me, and I don't need to figure it out. I'm just like in it. I don't need to
True.
process it in the same
But
way.
there's also though on the flip side of that, if you were to share it on the
Oh,
internet,
totally.
it's like now you're bragging.
Totally. I felt
So-
like I actually can't. I had the impulse recently like to stop sharing about my relationship online because I'm like, I actually think if I talk about it, people just think it's bragging.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I can't share. I don't know what to talk about then.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's interesting that you're like, I am depressed and I don't know. I think you're just in it right now. Like, we have this conversation
Sometimes you're just simmering
all the time where we're like, we're in process on something that feels like the only thing that we can think about. But when we get to the podcast and record, I'm not ready to say something about it, but it is the only thing on my mind for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't have the rear
next
view
step.
yet.
Got a great quote somewhere. Okay, hold on.
I have a question.
Oh yeah.
For you guys.
What's your question?
Okay, so I mentioned that I'm in therapy. I've been doing it since October, and to be honest, I feel like I've outgrown my therapist, and I feel like I need to move on to someone else.
I've done it a lot.
And I don't know how to break up with her.
Okay, let me
You
tell
just don't book a new appointment.
So at the end of every, because we do it on Zoom,
Yeah.
and at the end of every appointment, she's like, okay, so I'll see you, blah blah blah, and I'm always like, yeah,
That's fine. It's so hard to do it in person. It's so uncomfortable. This is what I would do. You book the next, don't do it in person. Send an email after the fact. You'd be like, I'm going to have to cancel our next appointment. I need to take a little break from therapy right now, blah, blah, blah. People do this to me all the time. If they take it really personally, they're a horrible therapist. Get the fuck out of there anyway. They should not take it personally. And it actually doesn't matter if they do.
I guess I'm feeling like I should be able to do it face to face.
I actually, the first 2 times I quit therapists, I had people react so inappropriately that I was like, oh, I'm not doing that in person anymore.
Wow.
They're people too. They're not flawless people.
Right.
And I've had people fight me so hard that I was like, oh, you're now putting me in a position where I have to lie to you to get out of here. Like, I'm actually not asking, I'm not trying to make an argument to you. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
So now I just do it over email. And also there are therapists who I did just take a pause with. And you can say like, I need to take a pause right now. I feel like I just need time to not be processing everything. And I will reach out when I'm ready to make another appointment, which may be never, or it may be in 4 months or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
That
what I
was
would
kind
do.
of like what I had in my back pocket, but I guess I had this pressure that I'm like, I'm in therapy. I should learn how to speak to someone.
It's weird.
No.
I mean, do it if you want, but I don't think it's necessary. And I really did have people be so weird about it.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
I guess
therapists.
that's probably what I'm a little bit worried about.
Just send an email. That's fine.
Yeah, that needs to be a
Okay.
written communication for sure.
All right,
That's
I
what
feel
would do.
validated.
It's a business. Yeah. You were literally paying them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We did it.
I'm gonna cap the episode off with one quote that applies to our career.
Okay.
Being in the middle. First of all, when you're in this moment, you have to play one song and one song only, which is The Middle. Well, who sings that song?
Sorry, you
It
said one
just
song
takes
only,
some
and I
time.
went to
What was it?
a whole other thing.
Beyonce?
Kanye, it's fine.
Jimmy Eat World. Okay.
Oh.
You have to listen to Jimmy Eat World. Thank you, Missy. By Jimmy Eat World, The Middle. Girl, just take some time. You're in the middle of the ride. It's a great song. Okay. It makes me feel better about it every time. I'm like, girl, it's written to me. Here's a great quote from musician Jacob Collier, who just suggests getting comfortable with not knowing what the next move is. And I think that's, I don't know. I'm trying to do it.
Wait, what was the quote?
I don't know. I didn't actually write it down. I kind of paraphrased. So it was something that was the topic of it, but I don't remember what the quote was.
Okay.
Okay. All right. No.
that.
Hold on. We're not wrapping up yet.
Okay.
I just want to say, Alex, are there any things that you want to throw out there? Things that people should check out or look at?
You can watch my YouTube channel.
Do that.
Her YouTube channel is the best thing ever because she is the most, first of all, it's a great face. First of all, it's a great face. It's a great talent. But one of the best voices ever, which is why I knew we needed you on a podcast. It is so satisfying to listen to you talk. You have the most soothing, comforting voices.
I'm gonna slap you.
And you're just a chill, stupid bitch. I love your YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll link it in the podcast
Alexandra
description.
Anele. Alexandra Anele on YouTube.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was so fun.
Thank you so
I
much
feel
for
like a
being on.
special
Literally
little girl.
from I was gonna say daily listener. I would be if you put them out daily, but
That's-
weekly listener.
You would
Weekly
stop,
listener.
I think, and I wouldn't.
You think I would
blame
stop?
You for
I get
that.
sick of you bitches. And I'd have to turn you
We
off.
have to give people 6 days to
Well, you would
collect
stop.
themselves.
You would stop talking to me then. That's the problem. Is sometimes we do text each other
That's
where
true.
you and I haven't talked for a few days, and I'm like, well, I've just been watching your videos, and you will do the same to me, and it's
Literally.
like that's the problem with having.
She'll
content.
text me, and then I'm like, oh, I should go listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm like respond.
And I'll be like, I'll get back to you.
It's like I'm right here, bitch. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Love
We
you.
have
Yeah.
loved it, and I loved meeting you in person.
I love how you talk about things. You're very reflective. It just felt, yeah,
Likewise.
whatever.
And I've been staring at your eyebrows. Anyway, you can find us on the internet. Not for Everyone podcast. Thanks for being here. Follow us on YouTube. listen to us. You're listening to us now, but keep doing it.
Yeah, don't ever stop or we'll kill you.
Find Alex, watch her YouTube, follow her, subscribe, hit the bell, all the things.
TikTok,
I know how
Instagram.
YouTube works.
Just say
I'm
say
everywhere.
platforms. TikTok,
Platforms.
Instagram, OnlyFans.
Not
No?
Soon.
maybe down the line.
The three of us.
The three of us.
Feet.
Feet. It would only be feet. I have no problems with selling pictures of my feet. Who's a problem with that? It's not my business who's jerking off to my feet.
I just think I agree. I just think you should monetize it. Like sometimes you give it out for free.
I
This
give
is
it out
a
for
different
free a lot.
conversation.
Put your feet up right now.
I
What are you
really
doing?
want.
I have a lot of scabs
No.
on my feet right now.
This is an opportunity for our business.
I want people to be able to pleasure themselves however they want. I don't really care.
They'll find it. They'll like zoom in through the glass table. Anyway, thank you for being here.
The end.
The end. Kisses.